Eat this one, food to melt, stubborn belly fat. After 60, does your reflection ever catch you off guard? Ankles a little swollen by evening, knees that complain on the stairs, and a waistline that keeps growing even though you're eating less than you did 20 years ago. In my years working with patients, I've heard the same frustrated sentence more times than I can count. I'm doing everything right, so why won't this belly fat budge? Today I want to answer that honestly, because it isn't about willpower and it isn't simply about age. It's about visceral fat, the hidden fat wrapped around your liver, your pancreas, even your heart, and research links it to a real jump in heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and memory decline after 60. Here's what surprised me early in my career. The most effective fix isn't a pill or a powder. It's 9 ordinary foods, several already sitting in your kitchen. Before we get into them, drop a comment and tell me one thing your body's been struggling with lately. I read every single one. Quick note before we dive in. A few of these foods, especially garlic, green tea, and fatty fish, can interact with blood thinners or blood pressure medication. If you're on a prescription, run any big dietary changes past your doctor first. Now, let's get into it. Number 9, garlic. For years, people assumed garlic was just a flavor booster, nothing more than something that makes a sauce taste better. That's a myth worth clearing up right away, because garlic is doing real biological work. When you crush a clove, it releases a compound called allicin, and allicin is where the benefit actually lives. Researchers have studied garlic's sulfur compounds for their effect on inflammation, including reviews published in nutrition journals looking at markers like C-reactive protein, and inflammation matters more than most people realize. As we get older, low-grade inflammation quietly builds up throughout the body, and it makes the metabolism run less efficiently, which gives visceral fat more reason to stick around. Garlic has also been studied for its effect on blood sugar. When blood sugar stays steadier, insulin doesn't have to work overtime, and your body gets a better shot at pulling energy from stored fat instead of adding to it. I've had patients tell me they started adding raw or lightly cooked garlic to their meals and noticed less bloating within a couple weeks, which lines up with what the research suggests about garlic supporting healthy digestion too. Here's the practical part. Crush your garlic and let it rest on the cutting board for about 10 minutes before you cook it. That short pause allows more allicin to form, which means you keep more of the benefit instead of cooking it away. If the taste is too sharp for you raw, roasting a whole bulb mellows the flavor while still preserving many of its compounds. Toss it into vegetables, into chicken or fish, into a pot of soup. It's one of the simplest upgrades you can make to a meal you're already cooking, and it costs next to nothing. Even 1 or 2 cloves a day, worked into whatever you're already making, is enough to start building the habit, and you don't need to take it as a supplement or a pill to see the benefits show up over time. Number 8, lentils and other beans. Most people file beans under boring side dish, something you eat because it's cheap, not because it's powerful. That reputation isn't fair. Beans, lentils, and chickpeas are some of the most effective foods for keeping blood sugar steady, and steady blood sugar is exactly what you need if visceral fat is the target. Here's the mechanism. Every time blood sugar spikes, your body releases insulin to bring it back down, and when insulin stays elevated too often, it pushes your body towards storing more fat around the belly. Beans digest slowly compared to refined carbs, so they release energy gradually instead of causing a spike and a crash, a pattern that's been documented in studies tracking blood sugar response, sometimes referred to as the glycemic index. They're also loaded with soluble fiber and resistant starch, which feed the good bacteria in your gut, and your gut microbiome plays a bigger role in appetite, inflammation, and fat storage than most people ever get told. On top of that, a single cup of cooked lentils carries close to 18 grams of plant-based protein, which helps with the muscle-preserving goal we'll keep coming back to throughout this list. Practically speaking, you don't need a complicated recipe. A bowl of lentil soup, a simple black bean chili, or beans tossed into a salad a few times a week can genuinely move the needle over months. If you're using canned beans for convenience, just rinse them well under water first. That alone cuts a meaningful amount of the added sodium. And they're about as affordable as food gets, which matters just as much as the science. If beans have historically left you feeling a bit gassy or bloated, try introducing them gradually and rinsing dried beans well before cooking. Most people find their gut adjusts within a couple of weeks, and the discomfort fades. Number 7, eggs. Eggs spent decades being treated like the enemy because of cholesterol concerns, and a lot of people still avoid them out of old habit. That fear has largely been walked back by current research, including large observational studies out of major public health schools, and for most people, eggs fit comfortably into a healthy diet. What makes them valuable after 60 isn't just protein, it's the quality of that protein. Preserving muscle is one of the smartest things you can do for your metabolism as you age, because muscle tissue burns more energy than fat, even while you're resting. Muscle loss happens naturally with age, and less muscle means fewer calories burned every single day, which gives visceral fat a little more room to settle in. Eggs supply all the essential amino acids your body needs for muscle repair, and starting your day with protein instead of something sugary tends to keep you full longer, so you're less likely to reach for a snack a few hours later. There's also choline concentrated in the yolk, which supports liver function, and a liver that's working well is far better at turning stored fat into usable energy. This is actually one reason I gently push back when patients ask me whether they should stick to egg whites only. You lose most of the choline and several other nutrients by skipping the yolk, and for most people without a specific cholesterol concern flagged by their doctor, whole eggs are the better choice. Practically, that means swapping the pastry or the sugary cereal for 2 eggs at breakfast, even a few mornings a week, can shift how your whole day plays out, including how hungry you feel by mid-morning. Boiled, poached, or scrambled with a splash of olive oil all work well. It's really the sugary breakfast you're replacing that matters most, not the exact cooking method. Number 6, green tea. If you've always thought of green tea as a weaker cousin of coffee, there's more happening in that cup than you'd expect. It contains a compound called EGCG, one of the most studied antioxidants in nutrition science, and has been researched in clinical trials for supporting the body's natural fat-burning ability while protecting cells from the same chronic inflammation we talked about with garlic. Some research suggests green tea's compounds may help activate an enzyme called AMPK, which works almost like a metabolic manager inside your cells, helping them use energy instead of storing it. Green tea does carry a modest amount of caffeine, generally less than half of what's in a cup of coffee, so most people tolerate it well even later in the day, though if caffeine tends to keep you up, an earlier cup or decaffeinated green tea still delivers plenty of the antioxidant benefit. No drink melts belly fat by itself, but swapping a sugary soda or juice for unsweetened green tea is a small habit that compounds over time. 1 to 3 cups a day is plenty. Just watch the bottled versions at the store. Many are loaded with added sugar that cancels out the benefit. Brewing it fresh at home, letting the leaves steep for a few minutes in water just off the boil, gives you everything without the extras. If you're new to it, matcha is simply a more concentrated form of the same green tea leaf, so a small serving goes a long way. Number 5, extra virgin olive oil. For years, people avoided fat altogether, assuming that eating fat automatically meant gaining fat. That's simply not how the body works. Olive oil is the backbone of the Mediterranean diet, consistently rated among the healthiest eating patterns studied anywhere in the world, including in large long-term cohort studies tracking heart health outcomes over decades. It's rich in monounsaturated fat and plant compounds called polyphenols, which help protect your blood vessels and ease the same chronic inflammation that keeps visceral fat entrenched. One compound in particular, oleocanthal, has drawn attention for behaving similarly to natural anti-inflammatory substances your body already produces. Not all olive oil delivers this benefit, though. Look specifically for bottles labeled extra virgin because that means the oil is minimally processed and still holds on to its antioxidants. It's also worth buying olive oil in smaller bottles and storing it away from light and heat, since those polyphenols break down over time once the bottle is opened. Drizzle it over salads, roasted vegetables, grilled fish, even whole grain toast, and it holds up fine for everyday sautéing too. A couple of tablespoons a day is an easy habit with benefits that reach well past your waistline, and it's an easy swap for butter or margarine if you're looking for a simple place to start. Number 4, cruciferous vegetables. Broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, kale. None of them are exciting to look at, and a lot of people quietly avoid them because of that. But your liver genuinely loves them. These vegetables contain a compound called sulforaphane, which has been studied in laboratory and clinical research for supporting your liver's natural ability to process fat, regulate blood sugar, and break down hormones, and your liver is one of the hardest working organs tied to your metabolism. There's also research suggesting these vegetables support healthy hormone balance, which matters because hormonal shifts after 60 often influence where the body chooses to store fat, frequently right around the belly. They're also low in calories and very filling, which makes them useful for managing weight without feeling deprived. One detail worth knowing: chopping or lightly chewing these vegetables activates an enzyme that helps your body access more of that sulforaphane. So a quick chop before cooking, followed by a short rest, similar to what we talked about with garlic, can help preserve more of the benefit. Roast broccoli with a little olive oil and garlic, steam cauliflower alongside salmon, toss shredded cabbage into a soup. If you wrote these off as boring years ago, try seasoning them differently, because sometimes that's genuinely all it takes to change your relationship with a vegetable. A drizzle of that extra virgin olive oil we just talked about and a squeeze of lemon can turn even plain steamed broccoli into something you actually look forward to. Number 3, blueberries. Don't let the small size fool you. Blueberries are some of the most nutrient-dense fruit you can put on a plate. Their deep blue color comes from anthocyanins, powerful antioxidants that protect your cells from oxidative stress, and oxidative stress tends to build up with age, feeding into the same inflammation and insulin resistance we've been discussing throughout this list. Research published in nutrition and cardiology journals suggests regularly eating berries may support healthier blood sugar control and better blood vessel function. Wild blueberries tend to carry a somewhat higher concentration of anthocyanins than the larger cultivated variety. But honestly, either one is a good choice, and frozen wild blueberries are often an affordable way to get that extra boost. They're also one of the easiest foods on this list to work into your day. Sprinkle a generous handful over oatmeal, mix them into plain Greek yogurt, or eat them straight as a snack instead of something processed. Fresh or frozen both work equally well, so don't feel like you need to chase them out of season. And there's no need to overthink the portion. About a cup a day is a reasonable target for most people. And if blueberries aren't available, blackberries and raspberries offer a similar antioxidant profile. Number 2, fatty fish. Salmon, sardines, trout, herring, mackerel. These are among the richest natural sources of omega-3 fatty acids, fats your body can't produce on its own. Omega-3s support your heart, your brain, your joints, and they've been widely studied for supporting a normal inflammatory response, the same inflammation we keep circling back to because it sits at the center of so much metabolic slowdown after 60. Large studies following people over many years have found that those who regularly eat fatty fish tend to have healthier triglyceride levels and better insulin sensitivity. There's another reason fatty fish deserves a spot on your plate, and that's protein. Preserving muscle after 60 helps your body use energy more efficiently and supports the balance and strength you need to stay independent. If fish isn't something you enjoy, or you'd rather limit it due to mercury concerns, walnuts, ground flaxseed, and chia seeds offer a plant-based source of omega-3s, though the type of omega-3 inches fish is generally considered more directly usable by the body. Aim for 2 or 3 servings of fatty fish a week if you can manage it, and if fresh salmon isn't in the budget, don't stress about it. Canned sardines and canned salmon carry a lot of the same nutrition, and healthy eating was never about buying the most expensive option. It's about making smart choices with what's actually available to you. Just keep an eye on sodium in canned varieties and rinse them briefly if you're watching your salt intake. And now, the number 1 food on the list. It's creamy, it's simple, and according to a growing body of research, it may support several of the biological processes tied to belly fat storage after 60. Number 1, avocado. Avocados spent years being misunderstood. People saw the fat content and assumed that meant automatic weight gain, but newer research, including studies looking at avocado consumption and waist circumference, tells a very different story today. The fat in avocados is mostly monounsaturated, the same heart-healthy fat found in olive oil, and it helps you feel full after meals, which makes it easier to avoid constant snacking throughout the day. Avocados also carry a heavy dose of fiber, close to 10 grams in a single fruit, and fiber might be one of the most underrated nutrients for healthy aging. It supports digestion, helps keep blood sugar steady, feeds the good bacteria in your gut, and keeps you satisfied longer after eating, all of which work together to support a healthier metabolism. They're also a strong source of potassium, a mineral a lot of older adults don't get enough of, and potassium supports healthy blood pressure and proper muscle function, 2 things that matter enormously for staying active. One practical note, avocados are still calorie dense. So half an avocado is usually plenty as a serving, added to eggs, a salad, or spread on whole grain toast in place of butter. Because here's the thing worth remembering through all of this. The real goal was never just losing belly fat. It's gaining the energy to play with your grandkids without wearing yourself out, climbing stairs, with confidence, gardening, traveling, dancing, living your life without constantly feeling limited by your body. Let's do a fast recap before we wrap up. Garlic, beans and lentils, eggs, green tea, extra virgin olive oil, cruciferous vegetables, blueberries, fatty fish. And the number one food, avocado. 9 simple foods sitting in almost every grocery store in the country, none of them expensive, none of them a fad. None of these foods is a miracle cure. But when you consistently choose foods that ease inflammation, steady your blood sugar, and protect your muscle, your body starts working with you instead of against you. It might not happen in a week, but if you stay consistent, the changes show up. Your clothes fit a little better. The stairs feel easier. You've got more energy by mid-afternoon, and those small wins matter just as much as anything the scale says. So here's a simple challenge. Pick 3 foods from today's list and work them into your meals for the next 30 days. Don't aim for perfect, just aim for consistent. It is never too late to make choices that support a healthier future. Which of today's 9 foods are you adding first? Tell me in the comments, and if this video helped, give it a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's coming next. Take care of yourself, stay active, stay hopeful, and I'll see you in the next one. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button. It really helps the channel. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss the next videos. I love hearing your thoughts, so please subscribe and let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.